Now here's something you don't hear every day. Kim Kardashian wants to be a lawyer.
Following in her late father, Robert Kardashian's footsteps, Kim is studying to become a lawyer.
What's the last thing you'd expect Kim Kardashian to reveal? That she's studying to become a lawyer. That's right, Khloe Kardashian's sister is apprenticing at a law firm. And I say, why not? After all, if this person can become a lawyer.
Kim Kardashian's new profession, the reality star working toward becoming a lawyer.
As of last summer, Kim had enrolled in a 4-year-long apprenticeship at a San Francisco law firm in order to prepare for the bar exam.
God, if there wasn't the long college process, I would be an attorney. But I researched that in the state of California, I could assist an attorney for 3 years and just take the bar.
Now that's who I want as my lawyer. Yeah.
And she says about it, quote, I just felt like the system could be so different and I wanted to fight to fix it. And I knew if I knew more, I could do more.
Woo! Guys, the people are quaking. The legal community is quite frankly shook. Opinions are being thrown left and right, and this is quite honestly probably my most ever requested video on this channel, which is kind of crazy. Kim Kardashian has decided she wants to become a lawyer, and it's actually far more interesting than it sounds. We're gonna need a lot of coffee to get through this video. Okay, so the news broke earlier this week. Are we shocked? I don't know. Are you? I can't read your mind. I can't hear you. I'm in my house by myself. But all I can say is that opinions have been flying everywhere. I've spent the past 4 days doing deep dive, intensive research when I probably should have been studying. I definitely should have been studying. Ironically, studying for my law degree, not Kim's law degree. How is Kim Kardashian becoming a lawyer? Apparently she's not going to law school. Why does she want to become a lawyer? How is she affording becoming a lawyer? Basically, what is happening? And I have the answers. I have all of the answers, and we're gonna spill the tea today, guys. And let me tell you now, once I've explained everything, it actually makes a lot of sense. Bear with me. It really does. One thing I will also say, for the people watching this and you're probably thinking,
this isn't very controversial, why are you doing a whole video on Kim Kardashian becoming a lawyer? Like, surely like no one really cares.
Let me tell you this. I posted on my story saying, guys, what are your thoughts about like Kim Kardashian becoming a lawyer? And the responses were... My opinion has changed a lot. I will tell you exactly what my opinion on this whole situation is at the end of the video. But firstly, I'm going to explain to you exactly how, why, what, where, everything. This is going to be an interesting one. I really think it will be. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but the first question that crossed my mind was, why does Kim want to be a lawyer? Especially if you're a law student watching this and you know like how hard it is to become a lawyer, how hard it is to get a job, how competitive it is, how long the hours are, how generally bad the pay is when you're like a junior lawyer at any level. Why would you want to become a lawyer? Especially because Kim already has such a media empire for herself. She has her own beauty ranges. She's literally a queen in her own industry. So why does she want to do death's work? Why is she joining the bad side? So if we go back a year to 2018, that was one of Kim's first involvements in a criminal justice case in the US. And that was the case of Alice Marie Johnson. So, oh my God, I thought there was a man on my roof. So some of you may already know the facts of the Alice Marie Johnson case, but just in case you don't, I definitely didn't before I looked into this. I'm just gonna recap them all now.
So you know Alice Johnson, the lady that I've been trying to get out of jail.
Okay, I didn't know her name.
It's her first time offense that was nonviolent, and she got life in prison without the possibility of parole, which was really crazy.
How long has she been there?
21 years.
Alice Marie Johnson was a 63-year-old woman in the US, and she'd been given a life sentence for a non-violent first-time offense drug offense. And by 2018, she'd served about 20 to 21 years of this life sentence. Now, before 2018, Kim had slight involvement in this case. For example, in 2017, she tweeted a lot of things about how unfair she thought the ruling was, that this woman was serving life sentence for what seems to be not too serious a crime. So in 2018, Kim joined together with the defense attorneys that were supporting Alice Marie Johnson, and she used her public platform to basically gain some high-level connections within the US political space. Most notably, the President of the United States, which is Donald Trump. Don't we love him?
And you're trying to get her out? Yeah, but the only person that can grant her clemency, which means to like forgive her punishment, you know, and get her out of prison, would be the president.
So the result of this whole situation is, after her meeting with Trump actually granted Alice Marie Johnson clemency, which means that she was allowed to be released, and Alice Marie Johnson is now free, which is actually pretty cool. The craziest thing for me is, even during this time in 2018, when Kim was literally just using her public platform for good, she was facing the most insane backlash from the media. People were making comments about her physical appearance, people were like questioning why she was doing it all together. Basically, from the start, even in 2018, people were hating the fact that she was getting involved in these kind of high-profile legal cases. And that is something we will see as a pattern throughout this story of events. So since all of her involvement in the Alice Marie Johnson case, which kind of all wrapped up at the end of 2018, she's actually been super central in a lot of US prison reform. So as you might know, the American prison system currently has a lot of problems, and you might have studied this at school or you might have studied it at university, but it's extremely overpopulated. There are issues such as prisoners' rights, especially female inmates in American prisons. It's basically not too good at the moment, and so there's been a big push for reform and the way that people are generally incarcerated. Now, towards the end of 2018, things were looking slightly brighter because there was an extremely progressive prison reform bill that politicians, lawyers were trying to pass through the Senate. And basically, Kim Kardashian got on board. She spoke to a lot of people within the political space. She again went and met with Donald Trump. Basically, she pushed this bill as hard as she possibly could, and it actually managed to pass. And this was to the shock of a lot of people, including a lot of senior political correspondents and commentators who really didn't think that this would get the support in the Senate. And obviously, I'm not attributing the fact that this bill passed through solely due to Kim Kardashian West, but I do think the fact that she's supporting movements like this and she's willing to kind of put her neck out on the line and speak to a lot of really high-profile people about pretty contentious political issues is kind of a really cool thing. Like, not that many other celebrities are actually doing that. And I feel like the people that are a lot of really strong, powerful male celebrities, people like Leonardo DiCaprio, who does a lot of work for global warming and climate change. And I feel like the response he gets is totally different to the response that we give to a woman like Kim Kardashian. This prison reform does a lot for inmates in the US. It ends the shackling of pregnant women in prisons. It keeps juveniles, so young people, out of solitary confinement. It introduces credit-based systems to allow people to get parole or early release, creating a better life for inmates after they leave prison. Okay, so that's kind of the context bit. That's kind of the why she's doing it. There's also the fact that her dad, Robert Kardashian, was a huge lawyer in America, but I kind of think she's done a lot off her own back. I feel like she's really paving her own path for what she believes in, so I kind of don't really want to like rely on the justification that, oh, she's just following what her father does, because she's actually doing a lot herself, and that should be credited. Okay, so the next question, why is she becoming a lawyer? Clearly she can do all of this without even having to be a lawyer. She has enough of a platform to evoke change. Why does she need to get all the qualifications? I think this is a point of sustainability. I think she's aware of the fact that she does have a platform and that she can walk into rooms and kind of speak to influential people, but I feel like she wants to do something off her own back. There's only a limited amount you can do as a celebrity with a phone book, and to be honest, she's going way beyond what most other celebrities have done. So she wants to become a lawyer, but she's said already she's not going to law school. How does that work? I'll tell you how it works. Basically, in most countries in the world, to be honest, you do need to go to law school. You need to get some kind of qualifying degree. In the UK, we have a qualifying law degree. It's 3 years. There are like very compulsory modules that you have to do. I think it's similar in most states in the US. However, it is not similar in California. So Kim is actually participating in the California Law Office program, which means that she doesn't actually have to go to law school. She can do it by an apprenticeship scheme. So when she first applied for the course, which according to her was sometime in July 2018, she will have had to serve kind of like a letter of intent to embark on this whole process, because trust me, it's a long process. It's a 4-year process before she can actually even sit the bar exam. After year 1, she takes the first exam, which is called the baby bar, and then if she passes that, she can then study for another 3 years to take the actual California bar exam. So one thing I found really interesting when I was kind of doing my research online and I was looking at everyone's opinions about the fact that she wants to study law is how hard this course is gonna be. The California bar exam is one of the hardest legal exams in the world, and I think it's quite well known to probably be like the hardest exam in America. And I literally mean that last year, only 62% of first-time takers of the California bar exam passed. And these are people that have spent 4 years in a very formal, traditional, intensive law school process, and still just under 40% of them are still not passing this exam. It's a really freaking hard exam. So according to Kim, she's been doing 18 hours of supervised study per week since last July, which is actually quite a lot of work when you think about how much work you actually do per week when you study at university. The next question you might ask is, who is she actually working with? So she's actually working with 2 female defense attorneys in California. She's working with Jessica Jackson and Erin Haney, and they're part of a prison reform organization which specialize in criminal justice and getting the release for prisoners that they think shouldn't really be in prison. So it kind of sounds right up Kim K's street. So the end point of all of this is that a lot of people are kind of ripping at her because she's not going to law school, but she's actually kind of made her life harder for herself by not going to law school. She's doing all of this teaching and learning while she's also trying to take care of her kids. She's trying to look after her media and beauty empire. I don't know how she's doing it. I think that is really, really tough, especially a subject like law. It's not kind of something you can like pick up a book on and like read a bit about. It's like complex stuff that she's trying to learn. She posted a picture of her learning tort law and it triggered me so much, and I honestly couldn't believe that she was not learning that at law school. Like, she's having to learn that with supervision, but kind of by herself outside of the classroom. Okay, so I'm now going to kind of address all of the backlash that she's had and all of the criticism and the opinions that people have made, because obviously you guys didn't see the responses to my story, but I think a lot of people within the legal industry still aren't really taking this seriously, and they have some genuine concerns about like what this actually means for the legal. Basically, I'll get into it. Let's just get into it. So the first thing people are saying is that she's cheating her way through law school. She's not going to law school, she's doing unsupervised study. It might be okay in California, but it's not what everyone else has to do in the rest of the world. It's unfair that we're working so hard and she can just do it that way. Okay, I have 2 responses for this. I think the first is that I think that she has genuinely made it harder for herself by not going to law school. She's not being taught by like a variety of different tutors, and she's not sat in a classroom. She's having to dedicate parts of her day while the kids are asleep or while she's not working. I think that sounds really tough. And also she's doing it in California, where the standard of law and passing the exams is extremely high. So I don't think that we can kind of criticize her for not going to law school. The second thing is you can actually do a similar apprenticeship route to law in the UK. I believe it's called the Level 7 Solicitors Apprenticeship Program. It means that you don't actually have to go to university. You become qualified as a lawyer through an apprenticeship program, similar to what Kim's doing. And yeah, you can do that in the UK currently. It's not like a weird loophole that Kim Kardashian West has like managed to find. You can do that in the UK. It's just that most people choose not to. The second criticism she's faced, which I've seen a lot online, is that Kim has been handed an opportunity that people have to work really freaking hard for. And I mean that people to put themselves through law school will work like 5 part-time jobs, or they will take years out before they start their degree to earn enough money to then put themselves through law school. 2 things I'll say here. Firstly, the route that she is taking to become a lawyer is probably one of the most inexpensive and accessible ways that you can take to become a qualified attorney in the US. The California Law Office program has an initial fee of around $158, and then every 6 months you pay $108. That's it. That's way less than my degree, and I know for a fact it is way less than you pay for law school in the US. So from a purely monetary perspective, she's not actually paying way more than everyone else. She's actually paying way less than most people. One thing I will admit, and I do have kind of like an empathy for this opinion that people have, is that she is a very well-connected person. Her father is Robert Kardashian. She has a lot of connections within the legal industry. The fact that she probably got her apprenticeship at a very high-profile defense attorney office is probably to do with her connections. But aside from that, I don't think it's a point of privilege that she's studying what she's studying. The third opinion I've seen online, which is probably the one I agree with the most, is that Kim Kardashian West is probably going to give a pretty poor representation of what a legal career looks like. Law students apply for jobs for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Even when they get a job, it will take them maybe 20 years for them to even get to the front line of a high-profile case. The legal industry is an extremely block-step system, and you know, to manage to get to the real forefront of work, it takes a lot of levels of promotion and a lot of grinding late nights. I think for Kim Kardashian West, we're not gonna see her applying for like training contract applications. We're not gonna see her applying for vacation scheme applications. She's probably not gonna be in the law office till 2 AM every night for a year, grinding and making coffee for people that are more senior than her. And don't get me wrong, I think she's gonna be doing a fully proper job. I think that she's gonna be working really hard, but I don't think that it's gonna be the most representative example of what most junior lawyers and law students go through when they're trying to really break into the career. I'm so aware that in this video, I didn't want to sound bitter at all, because I'm not. I'm guessing you can kind of tell that like I'm pretty much in support of what Kim's doing. I think it's really cool. But do I think it's gonna be the most reflective, representative example of the law student struggle to get a job in the current job sector? I don't think so. I don't think it will be. And yeah, I think she's setting a great representation for a lot of young girls who still see the legal profession as, you know, a very traditional space, and a space where they can't necessarily see themselves or see themselves fitting in. She is like the 2019 Elle Woods, and yeah, I'm very here for it, and I can't wait to follow her legal journey. Welcome to StudyTube, Kim. We want to see a study with me so soon. Bring out the study with me videos. But yeah, I'm really interested to hear all of your opinions on this, so make sure you comment down below so we can have a chat in the old comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. I definitely did. This week has been a roller coaster of opinions, and I will see you all very soon. Bye! I actually need to come back to the camera to turn it off, so